Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So, Chris can't be with us this week, and Matt was kind enough to pop up on the TV. I got the coaxial cable kind of rigged back. It's got some duct tape on it. It's fine. It'll hang in there.
Bang it a couple times on the side. It'd be okay.
Right, that's right. Yeah, the rabbit ears don't work anymore, but nice. And this week on the weekly, the Alchemy VTT Bundle on Humble Bundle, D&D VTT sometime this year, Pirate Borg is getting expansions, and WotC removes names or credits on D&D Beyond, because they're just that kind of company. I guess it's been a long time since we've had the really bad news from them, so we needed to hear some more shenanigans. So let's get started with Humble Bundle is running their Immersive RPG Bundle for Alchemy. So we've used Alchemy in the past, and it's kind of in process. It still not everything is complete. I think probably 5e is the most complete experience on it so far. It was how it was originally built. So if you like Free League games and you want to try a very immersive, very beautiful VTT that can be played either as theater of the mind or tactically on maps, then you should check out Alchemy. And this is quite a deal. So 50 RPG books for $30. And this is letting you in a little bit on how expensive these are to produce. That's $1,000 worth of content for the Alchemy platform. So they are giving you content for Tales from the Loop, Symbaroum, and Coriolis, and also Mutant Year Zero. And it's not just a little bit or a teaser or a quick start. It's almost everything for most of these games. So some of these books are just coming back into print. I think some of the Mutant Year Zero books, you can't get physical books as easily. They're coming back into print, but they've been sold out for a while. So a really nice themed UI elements, animated ambience, sounds, music, animation. So a lot of the really nice art from, and so Free League is a good match for Alchemy, I think, because they have really nice art assets. And then Alchemy works to do animation for them. So the grass is swaying, the capes are blowing, there's embers in the air if the village is burning, and some really nice immersive scenes to play. So yeah, and that also includes there's even Borg in there. So almost everything that Free League is doing, with some notable exceptions. So that will be rulebooks, adventures, and a lot more. For Vaesen is in there as well. So Vaesen, the 19th century Northern European horror game, and Dragonbane as well, the Swedish classic of Dragonbane, and then the alternate 80s era, the Tales from the Loop. So a lot of content for all of those games. So adventures, the core books for Symbaroum, it's both their original system and the 5e conversion. So lots of stuff. Twilight 2000 as well. So a ton of stuff. So notably missing is Alien, and that may be due to a licensing thing, because I think Alien was kept off of crowdfunding and stuff because of that. So there's 19 days left to get, and then they have their usual levels, so depending on what you're interested in. But for $30, that's a heck of a lot of content. Unfortunately, if you supported Alchemy during the crowdfunding, there's going to be a little overlap depending on what you chose. I think some of these things might already be in your library, but you will have codes for them, so that might be useful to get more people to try out the platform. But so expansion books, pre-made adventures, campaign books, lots of stuff. The bestiary for Forbidden Lands is in there. Yeah, Forbidden Lands as well, if I didn't mention that. Dragonbane and Forbidden Lands. Lots and lots of stuff. But Alien is missing, and maybe this email I received this morning, it will explain a little bit of why Alien is missing. Coming this fall, a second edition of the Alien RPG.
Oh.
Yeah, so 2E. New wave of 2E releases featuring a new core rules set, a new starter set, a new cinematic scenario set, and a miniatures line. So yeah, they did an okay job with Zone Wars. You can't see it it's behind the chat. The Zone Wars minis look decent. So yeah, they could do some decent Alien minis. I hope they don't go too deep into the miniature game. That's That's not an easy thing to make money on.
Modiphius' book.
Yeah. So I hope that doesn't happen. Well, I guess with crowdfunding though, it's no loss. If there's interest, then you'll have the money for it. If there's not, then you won't. Paying for all that expensive casting. But so it's kind of interesting. So they said, so in their email, they said, based on the feedback of thousands of players over 5 years, it's only been 5 years. I don't think you need a second edition quite that fast, but it may have to do with an active license. So maybe they're kind of running out of source books. They might have only had a few more releases. So they're like, well, if we do a second edition, then we can extend the license, because this may be one of their more successful games that they're doing. So a second edition will do a streamlined version of the core rules, additional new artwork, new content, a variety of new tools for players and game mothers alike, and all fully compatible with previous releases and game material. So that's always a little tricky if they're going to do much of a redesign. If it's just minor tweaks, then that's possible. But if they eliminate any major mechanics, you're going to be crossing things out in your character sheets. A new starter set, redesigned with a perfect starting point for newcomers, and they're going to feature Hope's Last Day, the Hadley's Hope scenario, which I didn't think was as good as the Chariot of the Gods. I really liked Chariot of the Gods. I thought that was a good starting adventure, and it kind of ramped up well and had a kind of Event Horizon feel to it. I like that part of it, because there was some nice horror elements that weren't Xeno related. They're going with the Hadley's Hope, and there'll be a new cinematic box scenario called Rapture Protocol. Then that'll be written by Jonathan Hicks and, of course, Free League's Tomas Herrenström. And we'll go back to the root of the Alien franchise, so you'll be playing a small crew of on a star freighter on a resupply mission. And then the miniatures will support the Rapture Protocol. So maybe the pre-gens in Rapture Protocol will be represented with miniatures as well. But I don't think it's not that important. I mean, maybe it'll be crawling a map with miniatures may be interesting, and you can have little blips. You can have little markers for blips and things, which I think that they already do. They have tokens for what could be an alien. So maybe the miniatures can replace your token set from the original boxes. But so that was a real surprise. So that'll be out this fall on Kickstarter. I put a link to the preview page so you can sign up, and they'll yell at you when that goes live. So it's kind of a two, I guess 3 products, right? They're going to do a core book, a box starter set, and then a boxed adventure, the cinematic adventure. So I'm curious, if how that's gonna go. Because
the Humble Bundle. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it just seems a little soon. What do you think about the timing for a 2E? Do you think Alien need fixing?
No, well, I don't know. I haven't played it, but someone won't run it for us. But I think you're probably in the right area, thinking they're just trying to keep the license active, because I've been playing Free League games for 4 or 5 years now. And this is the first second edition of anything I've heard about. Like, they didn't do a second edition of Forbidden Lands, and that's one of their older titles now. Right. And, they didn't do a second edition I don't know. There's been different versions of Mutant. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know if mechanics did change a little. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But what's the other one? There's not a second edition. So I think you might be onto something. I was also occurred to me, and I went in their website while you were talking just to make sure I'm not crazy. But the Walking Dead game is out and available for sale, and it's not in this, right?
No, that's true.
Yes. So it's probably the reason, going back to the Humble Bundle. It's probably neither of those are probably in there because of licensing.
Yeah, the terms.
I think you're right about the second edition. That makes a lot of sense. But going back to the Humble Bundle, that's a great deal. Like, when does it end?
I think we've got it was 19 days of this article, maybe like 10. There's like 10 or 11 days left now.
Yeah, I'm probably going to try to finagle buying that, I think, because that's just a ton of stuff. And Alchemy is great. I do feel like every time we bring this up, I just got to point out that they're not done with any of these modules yet. They're all works in progress.
Right.
So you'll get it. You'll get the rules, and you'll get some cool assets and stuff. And it's the system itself is cool. But if you want to customize, they're not really there yet. Like, you can do your own custom game and do it as you like. It's just you're going to have to do all the hard work with the graphics and the fonts, and your character sheets aren't going to look quite as cool as the official pre-made character sheets. But I'm hoping that eventually they're going to get to the point where they've got it all caught up, and you can just open up one of those pre-made character sheets for a pre-gen character, and just edit it and turn it into a generic character sheet that anybody can modify. But they're not there yet, and I just want to point that out.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's kind of a word of caution. This is early access, basically, but you're getting what will be nice finished modules and things eventually for a really good price. Yeah, because if you take a look at the prices from the store, I don't think there's anything that costs $30. I think most of them individually are more than $30. So to get almost everything that Free League, and their own original properties, so all of the original Free League properties for that price is good with with the art assets and everything, and Morkborg as well. Yeah. So that's worth taking a look at, and so we'll probably have some duplicate codes between the two of us, but should be good. So that's right, and also Free League also has coming up probably before the Alien second edition. The Electric State will get a retail release, and the Coriolis the Great Dark is going to probably be out. So they're busy. They are busy, and I'm sure they're at GenCon right now having some meetings. All right. Well, there was an earnings call. The great CEO of Hasbro, Chris Cox, said to investors, the new VTT by Dungeons & Dragons will be in gamers' hands later this year. And the quote was, the VTT is a 3D role-playing sandbox experience. So that was a quote. And so maybe if you are at GenCon and around the WotC booth, there is some kind of demo or some kind of, maybe it's, I don't know if it's a press demo or if it's just a visitor demo, but some kind of test that you can play, a demo or a beta kind of version that you can actually, put your hands on. And they are saying that this is going to be available for desktop, tablet, so PC, console, and mobile. So it's Unreal Engine 5, so that sounds possible. I don't know what console they're talking about. Steam Deck? I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how people will be playing this.
That one might be a little overreach. I don't know.
Right. Yes, and of course, well, Matt, I know that you're excited about this because you've pre-ordered your Player's Handbook, right? Coming out in September. Because when you pre-order the Player's Handbook from some source, I don't know if it's the WotC store or where, your pre-order bonus is a virtual miniature of a gold dragon that will be usable in this VTT whenever it comes out. So there you go, a gold dragon, a virtual one.
Now, I was going to drive to Southern California, wait outside Orcus Dorcas's door. Because when he gets back from GenCon, I'll just smack him and take the free Player's Handbook he got at GenCon.
Nice, yeah. That's good. Yeah, just wait in the bushes. wait in the bushes. Nice. Yes, so, Cox did also say that Wizards of the Coast is the golden goose in Hasbro's portfolio. So Wizards had a growth of about 20% in their quarter after quarter, with, of course, Magic and licensed digital games being the big money earners, as we already knew. And they are saying they're seeing solid pre-orders of the core rule books for the advised and expanded 5th edition. So, and we already know that they've got creepy plans to digitize everything and make it, they hired a digital, I got to manage, digital sales and everything. So it's going to get weird, I think, for like third-party people and everything. But they are looking to increase digitization across their portfolio. Great.
They have been trying to manage this news the last week or so. Like it's become very clear that they've issued bullet points like Fox News style to all their paid and unpaid fan people that they will never, that D&D is a tabletop game, we will never leave the tabletop sector,
damaged.
And it's hilarious on Threads because you see like people saying almost the same thing the way kind of Fox News pundits do sometimes. It's like, oh, you guys just got bullet points. Okay. This is stupid.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess they want to make sure that because they're trying to get people to pre-order physical books, and if they're like, well, why do I want to buy a book? You're just going digital anyhow. And that's that's an interesting thing. So we'll get into that. So they're going to be so now whatever this thing is that WotC is going to release is going to be up against Roll20, which now has full Discord integration, Fantasy Grounds, and like we previously mentioned, Alchemy, which is already working on 5e. It already works well on 5e. So, it's going to be hard to, and especially if you're already there, if your group already knows the platform, they're already comfortable with it, you've got your connectivity working, why switch? Like they're really going to have big reasons to kind of lure you in. It's like you're going to get stuff nobody else can have, some kind of exclusive content or something to really get you to. And I think we heard talk of that before, that they might have some subscription levels that will give you, they'll unlock subclasses, or they'll be doing things to try to make you feel like you're super special for subscribing. But but as they move to this digitization, another story came out that said, yes, they we'll touch on that at the end. But they're not treating the people that are working on these digital assets very well. But before we get to that, what is this new version called? So we still aren't hearing exactly. They're calling it the 2024 revision, even though the third book isn't out until 2025. But third parties are already starting to label it 5.5 because people need to know what the hell's going on. People when they're releasing their third party stuff, they're like, well, is this for what is this for? Is this for the changes? Is everything in your background, and you're calling everything species now, and there's no half race or half species, half species. So what are you doing? And so already the third parties are calling it 5.5. So they really did not do a good job with kind of branding this, and just I guess their fear of splitting a player base or causing confusion, maybe like 3.5 did. I guess that was a concern because the transition from third edition to 3.5 caused some confusion because there was no clear identifiers between the two editions. Everything just came out as the recent version, but you don't know if it had been sitting on the shelf for a while, how compatible it was. But WotC is insisting that this new revision is completely backwards compatible. So we'll see. And focusing on what's that?
It just occurred to me that if they really wanted to put maximum emphasis on this new VTT of theirs and not have to deal as much with the competition from Roll20 and everybody, Foundry, Alchemy, whatever, they would have named it 6th edition, like manned up and called it 6th edition and radically changed it, right? Like mechanically it's fundamental changes, and then they would have the head start on their VTT for using this new system. But they chickened out, and I mean it's better for people that like playing D&D that they did chicken out, but I'm just thinking from their robber baron perspective, they should have just gone all in and nope, it's 6th edition and it's all like die 12s now, or so, you know what I mean? Like they should have
throwing those handfuls of D4s on the table. I can't wait for that. Yeah. So I wonder, and maybe they were just afraid that not as enough people would come with them on that, so they're trying to transition stuff. But it seems so sloppy. And they also, when they're talking about this 5.5 in this article, they mentioned that it was pretty rushed. And I think a few reviews have even said that, talking about the new player's handbook. It seems a little rushed. There's some stuff that's completely untouched, and that could have probably used some things that were broken didn't get fixed in this new revision. And it's not clear, though, because if this move towards digitization, that just could mean that they want it to become more like software, and that's kind of what the Adobe platform is doing. They're trying to release updates and new features in different their software applications so quickly that you stay subscribed. There's always something being updated. So if they're making little rules changes in the digital version, but then it's gonna leave these so kind of like what Games Workshop is experiencing. I think with the 10th edition of 40K, basically the rules that as printed are unplayable because they had to make so many changes like right away. Like the rule set that they released, that book is not even usable because they FAQ'd and errated so much stuff. So WotC is going to be in that same situation where if they change too much, then it's like, why did I pre-order this book? Why do I have this physical book? There's nothing, there's too many small, edits in it. So we'll see. And they will probably have to clarify what's going on so people can clearly, and maybe this is also a way that to deny third parties a piece of the pie, the same piece of the pie that they had. By making it confusing, it's going to be hard for third parties to say, what does this work with? And everything that's not kind of the extras that's coming out on the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide is going to be Creative Commons. If you just wait long enough, it's going to all be in the SRD. So yeah, it's hard to that was another odd part of the reviews. Some people were saying, if you don't really need this stuff right now, just wait, it's free. It's going to be free to use. So unless you need all the cheesy art in this book, all the starry-eyed player characters looking up at the heavens or baking scones or whatever they're doing.
Very happy orcs.
Yes, everyone's smiling. That's what I like. Forget all this grim dark. It's so depressing. The world ending. It's fantasy. It's fun. It's colorful. Everybody just embrace each other. I think the role to embrace, I think, is what we're going to be saying. So that's where WotC is. But let's put all that behind us because we have 2 new expansions for Pirate Borg coming out. So this is something I thought I saw. Maybe it's just Mork Borg, but I thought I saw some Pirate Borg in that Alchemy bundle as well. I'll have to double check. But this is something I think we have to play. It sounds really fun. So Limithron, the creators of Pirate Borg, have confirmed 2 new expansions are coming out, and they'll be crowdfunding them both September 17th. So the 2 books are Cabin Fever and Down Among the Dead. And then they'll also be releasing, so these will be hardcover editions, collectible items, stuff to support what's going on. Just get in on the fun. So maybe stuff that they didn't get a chance to do with the first, because they didn't quite know how successful they were going to be. So Cabin Fever is going to be 144 plus pages, and it's going to include GM resources and new character content. Down Among the Dead will be 3 new adventures, modular rule sets, and a floating sea of skeletal sea life. So yeah, they've already announced several new additions to things that they've been adding to Pirate Borg, and so this is a reveal of kind of things collected. And of course, because it will be crowdfunding, they'll also include things like GM screens, original dice sets, custom coins, and ship combat tokens. So all of these things, all of these items that have been frequently requested by players, they'll now get a chance to do with some crowdfunding. So originally, Cabin Fever was designed by Known Conspirators, a third-party community during the Cabin Fever itch.io jam. So Cabin Fever is now collected in this book. It's a smorgasbord of content from different creators, all kind of smorgasbord assembled by the Limithron team. And Down Among the Dead was something that so the creator, Luke Stratton, was saying that while hard at work on my setting book, The Dark Caribbean, I found that it was getting too big. So I relocated some of the content, and Down Among the Dead was born. So that's Limithron's owner, Luke Stratton, said, this also gave me a place to include some ideas I've had for Pirate Borg, like optional house rules, PC motivations during the apocalypse, and new PC classes or a new PC class or two. So the book will be 3 short-form Pirate Borg adventures. My personal favorite is Lost in the Locker, a post-TPK romp into purgatory that involves stealing obols from Charon. Yes, a ball at an eternally burning palace, and a floating sea of skeletal life. Yes, and a giant tentacled lionfish to eat dead pirates for breakfast. Nice. So yeah, a lot of fun creativity. Oh, and in case you're wondering, why did they choose September 17th? Because that's Talk Like a Pirate Day. Oh, no. Okay. So yeah, just in time so you can talk like a pirate at your table. But yeah, that's fun. I'm glad that game's still getting support, and I'm really surprised it's doing well. We had a fun kind of pirate-themed 5e campaign that was probably the most fun that 5e could ever be. Yeah. And so yeah, it's definitely a fun for fantasy RPGs. It's a fun theme. So what do you think? Are we going to try some Pirate Borg?
I would love to. I'm getting a little concerned because our pile of games to try is so big.
Yes.
And Pirate Borg, I feel like, might be slipping and like, oh no.
Right.
We better play this before we forget it exists.
Yeah, before Alien 2nd Edition comes out. Yeah, right.
That too. I love that the whole thing with Borg, that the Pirate Borg people, correct me if I'm wrong, were totally different people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because the Borg people are like, yeah, make stuff for this game. We don't care. Cool. And they did, and it was successful. Mm-hmm. And so now you got people making adventures for it on itch.
Yes.
That's so awesome. It feels that kind of like philosophy and ethic is just so refreshing when compared to, the monoliths of WotC, Hasbro, GW, etc.
No, that's true. The generous license that Borg has, and basically, so there's like over 1,000 pieces of additional content, adventures, and house rules kind of things on itch.io just for Borg. So yeah, that's great. And they actually had a game jam, for Cabin Fever, their Cabin Fever jam. So these guys took the opportunity to, I guess that was probably during the pandemic, right? So they took the opportunity to do some more content. Yeah, so that is good. It's really good to see that, and it's nice that there is a platform where that's available. Unfortunately, like when there's so many people making so much content, you do need, kind of ways to aggregate it, or ways to you can't read through 1,000 pages of content.
That's where like a YouTube reviewer who's not paid to do this stuff,
right,
is actually really valuable. Like what's his name? We were just talking about him before we came on. Seth Skorkowski.
Oh yeah.
A lot of his content is just reviews of traveler adventures, Cthulhu adventures, and cult adventures. And that's really cool. Not always something I'm going to watch. Usually it would be if I'm interested in that specific adventure.
Right.
But to know that that's there, there's this detailed breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool. Like, and that is so much better than the guy who gets sent the player's handbook by WotC and just wants... confused about it.
Right. Just kind of crap something out within a week because there's a trying to get it out right as the moratorium is lifted. Yeah. There's a I think Wasabi Burger is a creator on YouTube that loves Dungeon Crawl Classics, so he reviews a lot of the adventures for that, and that's a great thing to see. Somebody that's passionate about running the game, loves the game, and says these are my favorite. This would be my my recommended funnel to use. This is my recommended 1 to 3 level 1 to 3. So I really like to see passionate people kind of give their opinion, and since you kind of know where he's coming from, what he likes about the game, then you'll know why he likes certain adventures over others. And I think that's great. It's good that we have those assets and it's not all pay to play reviews. Nice. All right, well, we'll end it on a sad note. We got to pile on WotC one more time. So in their move to digitization of their portfolio, whatever their all their revenue, they have decided to remove the digital content team's credits. So this is a story that we kind of missed last week, that just kind of broke last week. So the credits for the D&D Beyond team are totally gone, and it was a compromise. They were on a page on the website, and but I think in the digital books as well, like whatever they worked on, and they're just completely gone. This was a compromise because they were supposed to be credited in the physical books, because the kind of integration of these things, this content will appear in digital form and print form. But they said we can't, we don't have the space, we're not going to print your names in the book, so no physical credits in the books for people that worked on the online platform, and now no virtual credits either, no digital credits. So according to Faith Elizabeth Lilly, she was a contributor as we just worked on the team, the digital team for Wizards of the Coast. All of the credits have been removed from D&D Beyond. So her team was responsible for content, feedback, and implementation of the book content. So they were told the compromise was they would not be included in physical credits in the physical book for space reasons, but they agreed that they will be included online. They're gone now. So they don't want anybody to have any credit for whatever is being done with D&D Beyond. So a quote from her. So she said, while I was at Wizards, so after D&D Beyond was purchased, with numerous books, my digital content team and I worked directly with the book team on the content. So we read through the rule drafts, suggesting changes, giving ideas, and catching issues. So we had a full database of the content and understood exactly how it interacted. So given that, we were contributing contents to the book, and I feel it was a reasonable request that we be added to the credits. So I feel strongly anyone actually contributing to what was in the printed book should be credited through. So we agreed to compromise that we would just have digital credits, and so the team would have be added to a credits page on D&D Beyond only, as there was no issue with not enough space, on a web page. But those credits are now gone. And nobody, she said, nobody reached out to let her know, and said, I'm not angry or upset, just, again, really disappointed. So, really disappointing Wizards on a really disappointing coast. That's too bad. Yeah, so they talked about that. They were very much involved in the process because the lead designers would send them the rules. They'd give them feedback, highlight like potential balance issues, and really like be involved, kind of like a first read of a lot of these rules implementations before they, got posted on D&D Beyond. So they suggest tweaks to improve things, and also, kind of get them working digitally as well as possible. So the fact that they're not included at all is a shame. But they did, talk about have had better experiences with other publishers. So Cortex Prime, and Tales of Zadia have credited everybody, even so the entire development team, including developers and even community managers, are all credited, even though some of their contributions are only digital. So there's better places to work. In other words, not as high profile, I guess, but so we can reset that board. Incidences. Days since the last WotC incident. We'll have to get that board and just reset it back to 0.
I don't want to get you a copyright strike, but I just thought of a new little bumper you could use.
Oh yeah.
was it 16 Candles? Getty Watanabe. You know, he plays. Was it Long Duck Dong?
Right.
And there's that one scene where he's saying disappointed. He's just like, disappointed.
Nice.
Should play that before we talk about Wizards.
Every time. Wizards.
That's so dumb. Like, I have multiple core rulebooks for RPGs that have extra pages in them just for the Kickstarter backers.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
Right.
And they can't do this for people who actually did work for them. Like, that's really bad. And then the compromise, we'll do it on the digital ones. So the argument against cost or production or whatever is minimal at best, but I guess is technically factual on the printed material. But for the digital one, what's the argument? Like, it's digital. It's just floating in the ether. How could you? Some lawyer told him this is the way to go. I mean, that's all I can see with that.
Well, yeah, my really negative thinking and like experience with like being credited for stuff is this is a way. So they said they can claim, I worked on the player's handbook or I worked on D&D Beyond, and you have no proof. You can't point a future employer, and you have no portfolio basically from anything you've done for Wizards because you can't point to anybody with the credits that you have for your work. So you're not going to be leaving WotC anytime soon because you can't show a new employer what you did in the past, what projects you were involved in. And these are, large scale, big budget projects. So they would probably easily be able to get, smaller publishers and indie jobs in much happier situations. But WotC is just going to make that as hard as possible.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I think that really, really does suck. But I think you're right. I'm sure it was a combination of a lawyer, and they're like, why do we want to build these people's, portfolios and resumes? We just want them to, slave away on D&D Beyond for until they can't do it anymore. But one last little piece of WotC news. Dark Horse Comics announced that they have a licensing deal now. So they're going to do new comics based on D&D and Magic the Gathering, because we know how great those are. Anybody that's read a Magic the Gathering novel knows that that's some quality stuff. So they've already collaborated in the late 90s with a Magic the Gathering Gerard's Quest. And of course, they more recently did the Stranger Things. Dark Horse, I guess, was responsible for publishing the Stranger Things and D&D mini-series of comics. So this will be graphic novels, art books, and more. So they in this press release is a big list of people at Dark Horse saying, we're so excited to be working with D&D again. It's so wonderful. But remember, Dark Horse is currently owned by Embracer Group. So Dark Horse is, I guess, part of the Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends company now. When they
is that the one that they got put on? Okay.
Yeah, that's just like you're and Friends and the Red. You're the Professor and Marianne and all those guys. So they just like added them to that company. And so if you don't know, so Dark Horse's probably their biggest title was Hellboy that they published for a while. And they've done, Star Wars and a lot of licensed IPs. And they've also done, Cyberpunk, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Tomb Raider, The Witcher, Assassin's Creed, Halo. All probably not really worth reading, but they're, experience with licensed properties. And I think that was like how they survived the 90s, basically, is a lot of licensed books. And they have published the officially licensed Critical Role comics. And so they're getting this license from previously IDW. Was working with them working with WotC to publish Stranger Things D&D. I guess that was the box set maybe. And so that's it. That's it for WotC news. So Dark Horse is getting entangled with them. So more great
Careful,
content.
Dark Horse. Careful.
Yeah. No credits on comic books though. There's going to be no credit pages on these comics. Yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah, that's not good. Comics need their credits, so we'll see see how that goes. All right, so that is going to do it for this week. So, where can people find you, Matt?
I am on Instagram and Threads. It's at Hargald, HAARGALD. Also doing a Substack, which is Hargald Blog. matt.substack.com, I think is what it is.
Nice. I'll make sure I get a link in the description.
Writing different series of articles, mostly tailored to game design and game masters, but all pretty much role play specific, and trying to look at things that inspire that you can take from other art, like film, television, literature, illustration, that kind of thing.
Right.
And yeah, having fun.
Good.
The first article of every series is free.
Nice. Yes, first one's always free. You got to get them hooked, and and they're beautifully illustrated. From what I've seen, I mean,
I would say that they've got some cool art. In fact, the last article was just about artists I've worked with.
Oh, so, excellent!
Yeah, very good. Check it out if you want. How about you?
So I just did the August live stream for my cartoon. So Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch, and you can watch me draw a month. So 9 cartoons on a live stream now. So kind of making it more worthwhile. And I took a lot of snack breaks, so there were a lot of interesting things from the convenience store. And so if you want to read that cartoon, there's 20 years of it on GoComics. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you like what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling. So you can do that by going to patreon.com/upturntable and pledge at that tier or any tier, and just let us know what you want to, what we'd like to see more of on the channel. If you're enjoying the actual plays, if you want more lore videos, if you want more reviews, unboxings, what is actually the content that you look for on the channel, because it's quite a mixed bag at this point. Lots of variation. So let us know. And upturntable.com is the website, and on all social media. And so we'll be going live with the stream. We'll probably be crawling the tunnels of the planet Ix underneath the surface with these suboids. So you'll get to meet a very horribly enslaved race of worker class that House Vernius doesn't talk much about, but. So yeah, it should be a little bit different. So we're down 1 player, so we're going to do a little maybe infiltration kind of sneaking around, and so tune in for that. And the last session of our John Carter Adventures on the Dying World of Barsoom RPG campaign, the Shadows, or was it the Phantoms of Mars? That is going up tonight, so you can see that, listen to that as well. So I think that's another pretty full session. So 3 hours. We thought we were only going to do 10, but we stretched it to 11. So we got lots of John Carter, and that was our first 2D20. And very different, from what we did. Different from Star Trek and a lot of the other games. But fun stuff. So check that out. There's a playlist for that as well. And I think I've had some people asking in the comments for just audio only version. So I think I'll probably put that on the RSS feed, or at least on the website, so that it goes out. It's out on Spotify and Apple podcasts and every place to listen to as well. I just didn't want to clutter the feed with too much stuff, but I think if I make them into bigger pieces, you can just skip the download if you don't like to listen to actual plays. So that will do it for this week. We will be back again next week, and thank you again, Matt, for helping out on the TV.
You bet.
And see you again soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.